Beloved star, welcome to Immortal Starlight Pod, episode 29. And this pod, the way of the Golden Galactic Butterfly, the way of Arwen, finding the way of our Arwen, of our sacred inspiration. And in the silver wheel, the way of sacred inspiration, of receiving that voice of our immortal starlight, of our soul star. For those of us who know and feel the far realms of our multidimensionality, and that our purpose here upon the earth for the dawn is connected to that which inflows through us from beyond, from those ascended and parallel dimensions, universes, galaxies, star systems of light, bearing wisdom, not of this world, for a new era of light upon earth. And for those of us for whom there is this sentience, that is who we are, we walk something in some ways of a delicate, a mysterious path. And I think of this as the way of the Golden Galactic Butterfly. For in the silver wheel, our subtle sentience, our silver starlight, multi-dimensional sentience of listening to beyond, the way we both listen are the channels to a beyond, for a beyond that is yet of ourselves, and the way that also we are the channel for it, but also the transmitter, is overlit in the silver wheel, or described, symbolized by the Golden Galactic Butterflies, the state of the divine messenger of worlds, who brings through that wisdom of beyond to this world for the dawn. And the Golden Galactic Butterfly comes in the silver wheel when we are ready to really both receive and transmit that language of starlight, that language of light, of the one who we are from beyond. And yeah, it's a delicate path, a delicate, mysterious path, more like a trackless way, a pathless path than anything else. This way of that sacred inspiration, that remembering, that knowing. It may be switched on by other things, by spiritual paths that we walk, initiations or ceremonies that we undergo. It may be reinitiated within us through them, but once it ignites and it begins to move through us, it is the way of our own soul star, of our own enlightenment, of our own becoming. And to receive its whispers, its guidance, it becomes a longing. Increasingly, as one travels, it's almost as though the more of that is received, the more everything else, the etheric architectures or spiritual practices or pathways that we walked, begin to fall away as and when needed, as that light within us of the direct knowing, the direct remembering increases. And as it becomes more solid, more tangible, as we begin to receive that voice in ways that really guides us from moment to moment, informing our very life and everything that we move through. So there's so much I'd love to share for this one, this way of the Gold Galactic Butterfly, this way of sacred inspiration of Arwen is what's guided my whole path, and I have so much I could share and that I would love to share about it. And when I began writing The Silver Wheel, I was writing it as a PhD, as an MPhil, a master's that became a PhD in creative writing. And so I was writing a theory of my own practice of receiving it, even as I was writing the book itself. So if you like, I was witnessing and analyzing my own process of creativity, my own process of inspiration. So right from the beginning, that has always fascinated me as deeply as the inspiration itself. It's to observe what is taking place. How am I accessing this? What does this mean within existence, that I am accessing this stream, this information in this way. And I believe there's a very, very particular quality to our state when we're receiving our own Arwen. Arwen is the Welsh word for that sacred inspiration, that divine breath, if you like, of the Holy Spirit, of our own soul star and source inspiration and knowing. And when it fills us, that diamond, golden, white starlight source knowing, howsoever you experience that of your own immortal starlight filling you, that deepest knowing, it is the most incomparable state. It is the state of our awakened avatar presence, of our soul star walking this earth once more. And once we've experienced it, it's a state that we ever tend to, that we long to return to. And our inquiry really becomes how can I be this one? How can I walk the earth this way? And I believe that the Elven long since have walked the earth this way, as have many in the great starlight ages of the earth, of her great starlight eras and diamond suns, walking the way of the soul star, walking the way of the immortal starlight, walking the way of our divine and our sacred inspiration, our way of revelation, if you like. And it precedes any spirituality or religion or any such mystery school of any kind, this way of simply walking the earth in the light, the direct light of the one who you are. And while to be awakened to presence brings with it great knowing, great remembering. It's not a static state, I don't believe, not within my own experience thus far, humbly to where I am. There's always mysteries to reveal from beyond where one is. But in my experience thus far, it is a state that ebbs and flows, very much that word of revelation, of a revealing, that as organic, sentient beings within form, within the beauty of the transience of form here, just like the trees, the cherry blossoms that bloom and fall, that we form and reform the light and the sacred inspiration with us in accordance with the great evolutionary impulses of the entire universe. So it really is a very beautiful state, while indwellingness in the pure presence and remembrance of who one is, but also of a kind of exploration and an adventure of that arising anew and unfolding moment to moment. And so that way of the Golden Galactic Butterfly, that way of Arwen, is intrinsically one of mystery. And becoming one who, awakened as the one who you are, walks thenceforth perpetually in mystery, in the luminosity as well as the emptiness of the divine. And is really at home there in that state of the mystery of the divine quantum field of infinite potentiality, and has a great soul and spirit of honouring within that, at the heart of all that is, all that might be, all that shall be, all that has been. So to come into remembering and knowing of one's sacred inspiration is not to leave mystery behind, but rather to indwell within one's remembering in the very heart of mystery. And that is one of the qualities of the state of Arwen. And for my own journey, when I began, there's always a beginning, isn't there, where to begin the story. And I know for some maybe listening to this for the first time, there won't be other parts of the story if I don't speak the whole here, but I can't possibly speak the whole every time. That would be, it would just take forever and be the longest pod in the world. But the moment that's just presenting right now is I'm remembering so I finished my university degree, and that was in English literature, and there were all sorts of other things going on, but that journey of the intellect had taken me to this place, and I'd studied classics and philosophy and religious studies and landed in English literature because my curiosity was about the true nature of reality and the deepest kind of thought we could possibly have about and with what is, and to be and to reside at the heart of that thought. And as I moved through the layers of those learnings, I felt that the state of poetry, of the poets, of the divine inspiration articulated through the heart of the poet, was as close as I could feel. And while many philosophers actually come very close to that edge also, to that place, they speak as the poets do of the nature of reality, I realized that for me, within that inner song of creation, that for me was the closest place that I could reside in to that sense of the true thought of that which is in reality, in unfoldment. And so I began from that degree, having landed there through my explorations, doing this MPhil in creative writing. And I began, so it was a thesis, Silver Wheels. So my book that became this book of Elven Ascension Wisdom Teachings was a thesis, would you believe? And so, yes, there was a beautiful poem being written. It was one great poem. Its title was Arwen, Re-enchanting the Land, because I didn't receive the silver wheel, this mandala of elven light wisdom teachings and sacred remembering for the dawn of Lemuria and before. I was a long way from that. I was the golden galactic butterfly flitting along a path of cadences of remembering and forgetting, of a pulse that was so powerful and so delicate that couldn't be controlled, and yet that could be honored. And I tracked that in that state. All I knew it as was what I would call that state of Arwen, of a knowing that came and went, and that it was so connected to the earth. And for me, it was sitting with nature. You know, even now, just sitting outside, actually I was leaning against the house, the wall of the house, but even through the brick and the bush next to me, and this just pulse of knowing, of remembering, of this great elven cosmological song of all that we are, of the record of what wants to come through from the earth herself for the dawn, started moving through me. I thought, these are the moments that we are all having, these indescribably, in a sense, subtle and yet powerful moments of that way of the golden galactic butterfly, of those, the divine messengers of the dawn. And our wisdom, our remembering, so powerful, complete, that pulses through us, but it can't really be controlled. It's at once so powerful and so tender and so delicate. And all I knew was to devote myself to this, and that it came through nature. And as I remembered the ways of shamanism that for me resonated through my soul lineage, as I took up the drum, as I lit candles and lit sage, and as I journeyed, learnt the ways of journeying into the other world, that then also I received these streams of this remembering, of this knowing, through ceremony upon the land, but also through my solitude, through walking in the forest, through just strumming on my harp, which I didn't know formally how to play, and I'm not musically knowledgeable, but to begin just to sound. So these were the ways, and it was that the tide of this deeper knowing of this other mind moving through my own, this altered state, and yet so present, so much not channeling someone else, as it were. It was such a sense of this as being a knowing, of a strand, a sentience, another layer of my own being, of my own consciousness, and yet beyond what I embodied. And another thing that also came was to listen to the crystals that my beloved first husband, the father of my son, my oldest son, took me to a quarry in Wales where the crystals were just lying close to the surface of the earth, and with twigs, I remember, bent down. It was one of our first dates. We were prizing these beautiful clear quartz crystals from the soil, from just the crumbly earth right there, and there they were, and retrieving those and taking those home. And I used to sit, just having heard of through my shamanic explorations of that Native American wisdom, that the earth is the library of records. She holds the trace of all that's been within her crystals, within her rocks, her stones, the information there held. And I had a sense, while the veils in my consciousness were quite thick, in a sense, that to listen through just sitting with them, this clear quartz, and I still have them here, these first crystals that I then wore in a medicine pouch always with me, and to receive that they helped me to connect through me to this song, this Arwen of this greater knowing. So some ways more ceremonial, some ways incredible simplicity, but I think the ceremonial ways, as we go through them, however that is for us, or the initiations, the spiritual paths, they unlock this very simple and natural state of our soul star presence, of our remembering, and it becomes, every time we go through those gateways, we become more integrated with that. It becomes more natural until more and more, as I said at the beginning, we need those architectures less and less, and we are walking the pathway of our own remembering, held by the architectures of its light as it comes in direct revelation through us, reweaving our existence. And so that direct remembering became more immediate, and through that, so this book that was Arwen, Re-enchanting the Land, so I knew that it was a layer of her, of the earth, that existed before and before and before, like a lost enchantment, and yet not one that puts you out of it, but one that brings you profoundly in. I felt this intuition, even through the veils, that the earth we truly walk upon is not the earth that we're carrying in our immediate awareness, and that she is through and beyond that. So re-enchanting the land, the sense. And interestingly, one of the strongest moments of this during those years of the Arwen, of the re-enchanting the land, when I was connecting at that level, and the book was called this, I remember going out on an early morning walk in the lanes and coming across the local farmer, and he stood next to me, and he was very small, he was elderly, but his family had grown up all the years on the same farm, and he was the last one there on the land. And white-haired, smaller than me by then, and elderly, and we stood side by side in the early morning light, and by then my tracking, was really unified with that pulse of the Arwen, the white starlight within the land, the remembering, and I could feel as we stood there that we were in one consciousness, one awareness, one heart, feeling this same reality, and that he, as a guardian of the land and running through his bloodlines and always of the earth, and as a farmer there present with the land, knew the earth and these white starlight architectures. We were together, and there weren't words, we maybe didn't have a shared language to convey that to one another, but it was that amazing moment of that oneness of awareness. And so this way of the Golden Galactic Butterfly, it's so natural, it's so native to us. It's our elder way. It is the natural state of our own grace, and the grace of earth, and the grace of all that is, to be this way, to transduce these layers of vast consciousness through and as ourselves. And those are the strands, the pathways of our multidimensional remembrance. The pathway through the sun is so strong through the solstice, so established, the beautiful elliptical star portals in her great central chamber are shining, the rays from beyond of the great central sun of all worlds, that angelical concordance of worlds shining through, and through the very innermost heart of Gaia, of earth, of Orielle, now her seventh dimensional realms, the ancient sun star temples of the diamond suns rising up. All is wrought, and it feels so much now the time of the heart, if you like, the time of that divine messenger that we are, of that golden galactic butterfly, of the heart really synchronizing now and becoming that portal. And I'm feeling through my heart, I can feel the immediacy of those far galactic light paths of the Elven through Laniakea and beyond, of the Temple of the Morning Star. I've been feeling Andromeda pulsing through, and I've been feeling such a cleansing and a purging with that, as though there's yet another deepest veil from my being lifted with this presencing of that immediacy, as though everything that, with the golden wheel, this is my way of inspiration now to bring through the Elven golden cosmological record of the golden wheel, and it's as though what was beyond is now so much here. I can feel this through my heart, And it brings such a sense of wonder, that Arwen, that soul star knowing, that walking the earth as this one. And so this way of Arwen and its parameters, its possibility within us with our ascension. We are shifting all the time. But I want to affirm what in its own way, a powerful and yet gentle, mysterious, tender path it is. And it's a very interesting state. And the way I've been given, and the way that through my years of listening, so what began as a intellectual or an academic quest, as it were, to understand this state of inspiration, it came to a point where I knew and I was told that I couldn't bring through the fullness of what the silver wheel was if I stayed within that context of the academic PhD and so forth. And it was such a letting go, because it was all that held me in this world, the form by which I could be known or held or recognized, all of those kind of things. And it was a really, really deep surrender at that moment. And I remember writing the letter to my family, especially to my father, who I've got a very deep connection with. And it's quite ethereal. It's a very deep spiritual connection. And the tenderness of writing that letter, of releasing that form, and I knew that what that meant for him as well, because for him, his understanding that was so what held his daughter and her pathway in this world. But once you have those architectures of that deeper soul star being, so much falls away, and we don't know what it will be for each one. For me, it was the PhD. For another person, they could be guided to do a PhD, and that's part of what they're called to. So with that letter, with that writing, it was one of those deep surrenders, and full of a profound grief as well in letting that go. But as well, with those passages of those letting goes of the dawn into our greater soul star presence, it's a strange grief, because it's woven through with wonder, it's woven through with grace. And so one lives both and in that state for a time as you transition, and the choice, the timeline is made. And I knew that thenceforth I stood and I walked that trackless way, or that pathless path, and I was walking that path of my own soul star remembrance process of inspiration. For the silver wheel, the Elven records for the dawn couldn't come through held by anything less, if you like, than their own light, configured by this soul star radiance of the Arwen, of the sacred way of inspiration. And that state has some qualities. And that is, I have come to remember, as the way of the morning star, as the way of the temple of the morning star. And I mean that not in the sense of bringing in, yet another system. These are, I feel, this morning star light is part of our most natural and elder way within each one of us, just as is our evening star light, that which then passes from one world to the other. This morning star light is of us, where we bring through that first and that elder light of that which we are. We go direct. We bring through our own knowing, our own remembrance. We become avatar. We walk this earth as the one who we are. We become that morning star of dawn. And there are some qualities to that state that the Elven, through world and dimensions, have remembered, and they've held and mirrored upon this earth through the light of the temple of the morning star that's risen through the ages of the great diamond suns, and that rises once more. And it's woven of 7 celestial flames. And if you like, that mysterious state of being guided by your own Arwen, that state of the golden galactic butterfly, of the morning star of dawn, if you imagine that you are held in place by these 7 celestial lights and pulses, they're parts of your own greater being that all need to be present in this kind of overtoned synthesis in order for the possibility of this knowing to move through you. This state, this way of inspiration is mysterious, and it's not one thing only. And for my own remembrance and through the Elven way, I would characterize it by these 7 celestial flames or lights. And so, if you like, the golden galactic butterfly within, the divine messenger that we are from that parallel ascended universe, galaxy, star system, world dimension of light beyond, that we arrive, if you like, that golden galactic butterfly arrives lit by these 7 celestial flames or lights of the morning star, like a butterfly arriving on the beams of the sunrise, lit by these 7 celestial flames or lights of this state of 7th dimensional and beyond creation. For as we step into this way of soul star inspiration, we become 7th dimensional and beyond creators. We are creating as source, as that source light that we are, as the mystery of that divine quantum field of love, dancing forth at one with the emptiness, with the void beyond, with the mystery, that light and that emptiness all at once. And there are 7 flames or celestial lights that within that mystery, within that state that we know, we can feel is so pure and uncharted, as it were, that there are qualities to that state that we can identify and know and be guided by and walk with. And this is through my own Elven remembrance what has come as I've sought this way of 7th dimensional and beyond creation, as it is called as something already known within and there, and yet to be remembered, to be brought to full consciousness. And those 7 flames are of sapphire, silver, lavender, gold, peach, white, and rose. And they light our path, if you like, as that golden galactic butterfly, as that divine messenger of worlds, walking this earth in soul star presence, really, really bringing through from beyond what you're here to bring. And the first is sapphire, the first guidepost to remember that the earth has called you here. You are not alone, that the earth has called you, and that the realms of nature are the sacred hologram, the library of light of the wisdom of the one who you are, returning to you, pulsing through you. And when you sit with nature, when you are with nature in that simplicity and that moment, Earth herself, her records will unveil and gift through you, reflect the message, the wisdom that you bring, and really to trust what comes through you when you're in the realms of nature, when you're connecting with the earth. And when you need to anchor, to remember why you're here, the sacred purpose that's called you, you can also always come to earth to ask her, what would you love me to become? Who would you love me to be? What would you love me to bring? And she will return that answering call, will answer you and let you know. For this divine messenger that you are walks not alone. You have been called by the earth for the dawn, and she will let you know. She will return you unto yourself over and over again. So this first sapphire light, to walk with the earth as the divine messenger, that golden galactic butterfly that you are, she becomes the sacred hologram of your Arwen, of your divine inspiration, and to really trust what comes through you when you're with earth, when you're with nature. And the second celestial flame that overlights, or that is woven through as part of the quality of this state, of this soul star way of Arwen, that is the silver radiance and the silver light of the channel of beyond, of your starlight language, of the language of light, of the one who you are, that you do come from beyond, carrying the message of your people. And it is of a knowing, of a music, of an energy, of a language of light that is beyond this world. And often for starlight souls, we feel, how do I translate that? I know in my being, my very essence, the meaning of that, but how do I translate that into the language of this world? And the wisdom of the sapphire, the silver radiance of the following the sapphire, the silver radiance of the way of the morning star, of seventh dimensional and beyond creation is that we open to that language beyond. Do not fear it. You can open more and more deeply, or fear that you will never be able to translate it. It's just that we don't always understand the dynamics of our body, heart, and mind, and how we ourselves are the translation channel for that language of light. And it is really that we are the receiving of that language of light of our people from beyond, and that we receive that through the heart. And the heart then transmits that through our brain, through our mind, through the neural pathways, and recodes them. So fill with the song of the one who you are. Fill with that language of light, that is energy, that is essence. Let it move through you and recode the neural pathways of your mind. And what will happen is that the mind then becomes capable of transducing this language of light into the language of this world. What doesn't work is when we let it in through the heart, and then we try to interpret it with the existing neural pathways, with the existing concepts that our mind has formed and forged. Those are simply patterns that reflect the energy that is within us. And as this new energy of our language of light comes through, as that messenger from beyond, we need to let that pure energy recode, be received through our mind, let it wash through. And what happens is to trust, because the brain is a receiver, those neural pathways are receivers, and they recode, forming the pattern. And our current concepts and our current thoughts are simply, they are the, if you like the geometries, the patterns, reflecting the energy that we hold and that we are, of our essence. And suddenly a knowing in the language of this world will appear, words will come. You will find yourself able to express as the messenger, as that divine messenger that you are from beyond. So yeah, allow yourself to receive your language of starlight. Allow that it is beyond this world, and it flows through you as a music, as a knowing of beyond, and let it wash through. It's a silver radiance of being that channel of the beyond, and allowing yourself to be reconfigured, trusting your mind. It's very malleable. It is not fixed. And as we can get older, it can seem that the pathways fix and form. But if we let this process happen and the heart wash through the mind, it recodes and we start forming new concepts, new thoughts we've never thought before. And it's quite a beautiful experience. And suddenly you can express, you can be in the language of this world, that which you carry from beyond. So that's the sapphire and the silver light, the first two pieces of guidance of the way of the morning star. And the third is that of the lavender, and that is the wisdom of the flow and the wisdom of the cadences of your own Arwen, of your wisdom from beyond, that it is synchronized with great cycles of light, with the circadian rhythms, yes, of the sun, of the sunrise, of the dawn, of the dusk, of the evening, the rhythms of the sun through the day, also the cycles of the moon and of the starlight, the cycles and pulses of the great central sun of all worlds, and those cosmic pulses and celestial cadences of light that are moving through. Our return, our knowing, our wisdom is not always present in the same form or the same way, moment to moment. And to come to know ourselves, to synchronize with the divine pulses of our Awen, of our knowing. And when we come into synchronization with that, with the true flow of our being, as that messenger, as that one who we are, then we maximize it, if you like. Then it really starts to come forward. If you imagine your Arwen, of that knowing of your greater soul star and being as a cloud of galactic butterflies, that golden, that come in upon the pulses, the cosmic pulses of the light, that when you synchronize with that, they're able to settle to you, to land with you, to be truly gifted. So observe yourself, observe. We all also have characteristic cycles, times when it's stronger for us. And very often for many of us, it may well be synchronized with that first light of the morning, of the day, when that sunrise energy or that first light of morning is present for you. But really coming to know yourself. And for me, I find I'm very dawn and dusk. And also at night, very, very inspired. The knowing can really move through. But another quality to the lavender guidance of the morning star is that whatever comes through in that pulse when you're being touched, do still into that, pay attention. Don't assume it'll be there for you in the same way in another moment. To postpone, to put off, synchronize your meditation, your time of creation to those pulses of inspiration, because we can't just catch them in the same moment in another way. We are that emptiness and that luminosity. We are that mystery and that divine intelligence of source. And we pulse in and out of the mystery and the unknown and the luminosity of the divine intelligence moving through us. So when it's with you, to really still into that, to honor that, and to gather up your divine knowing, to make the most in whatever way for you of that moment. And equally, when it's not present, not to blame yourself or pressure that moment, but to let that be a moment of mystery, of the ebb and flow. And synchronizing in the lavender light with this. We trust the cadences of our starlight inspiration. Not all moments are equal, not all moments are the same. And when we synchronize that, it becomes quite beautiful, and not just on a daily basis, but even through your weeks, through your months, through the year. There are different rhythms. We begin to synchronize with the true rhythm and flow of our starlight inspiration and knowing. So this is a very organic process. And the fourth way is that of gold. So we have the sapphire, the silver, the lavender, and the gold. And that is the portal of your imagination, coming to trust once more and more than ever before, the divine portal of your cosmic imagination and dreaming heart and mind. For this is an access point to the message that you hold as that divine messenger of worlds. And this is the golden light of the activated sacred imagination, to trust, to cultivate this part of yourself. For in the seventh dimensional and beyond way of creation, we are literally dreaming into being that which has not yet existed. We become one with that heart of creation. We are that source light, dreaming reality in that quantum and divine field of infinite potential into being all over again for a new era of light. And while yes, we are in many ways receiving that lighted intelligence of all that we are from beyond, and that silver light we receive from beyond, that which we already are and is known to us from layers of our multidimensional being. But we are also literally dreaming through the portal of our divine imagination, reality into being all over again. So trust this golden light of your being. This is part of your role as that messenger of worlds. And coming to the fifth light of the way of the morning star, which is the peach light of the radiance of sacred care and nurturance of your physical vehicle, of your body, of your physical creations and their form here. For as the divine messenger of worlds, as that golden galactic butterfly, that way of soul star creation, being the morning star of this dawn, that we are receiving very much from beyond, and what you bring through may feel, and indeed is, from way beyond your physical vehicle. But you are receiving that here, and it is reforming as the stardust as the cellular formation of your physical vehicle here, becoming the crystalline expression of your soul star light upon this earth. And so there is care of this process of becoming, of your body, that our divine inspiration, our Arwen, is not that old model of the mystic just abandoning and transcending their body, and the creative who doesn't take care of themselves, who brings through incredible inspiration, incredible knowing, but lives in a chaos of abandonment of the body here, of their physical reality, of their home, of their physical creations. That in this way of the dawn, in this way of the great diamond suns and the elder and the elven and the star way of creation, that we are remembering, we are creating, dreaming ourselves into being. And that is in physical expression. We are manifesting in physical expression as the divine light we are. This is Avatar's soul star embodiment. So in this way, steering by that path of sacred care and nurturance. And what is so fascinating is that there is no generic way of that sacred nurturance and care at the physical level. It will be divinely guided by your own soul star remembrance and wisdom. You will know the ways to take care of yourself. You will feel impulsed, guided to the ways that are suited to your own physical vehicle and becoming. And so not skipping out that part. And that's been a great one for me, a great learning, because there's a part of me that longs as that golden galactic butterfly to soar always to the next wave of that celestial and soul star inspiration and to bring it through. But I've really learned to still now into this peach light of care, of becoming here, taking care of that guidance too. And I might have been afraid before that my butterfly wings would be too slowed, too still, too halted by that. And in fact, what I've learned is that if I take care all the way through into that also, that the miracle of true becoming takes place, the miracle of the true fulfillment of soul star presence upon this earth once more, this ascended existence in this higher vibrational octave becomes profoundly real. And so this peach light and flame is such a beautiful part of our way of soul star creation. And also, just to spend a moment longer with this, because when we create at the level of our soul star expression, when we inhabit this level of existence, become that messenger to our people, become that divine messenger that we are, that there can be a counterwave where we feel a contraction and we might feel like sabotaging, destroying what we've created, undoing it, hiding it, putting it away. Instead, we take our staff, our elder staff of worlds, we plant it firmly in the ground in response to ourselves, in answer to ourselves, saying, I will not sabotage what I have created. I will not hide it away. I remain gently, vigilantly in care and nurturance of this. I allow it to exist. I do not abandon it. I do not neglect it. I do not sabotage it. I allow my creations to exist, and we really become the guardian of sacred nurturance and care to what we have created, what we create, what we bring through the sacred reality. So there can be that counterwave, and in this peach flame, it's just wonderful guidance to stand firm at that point, to stand firm. And in another metaphor, that you have a sacred basket, a sacred woven basket, woven of earth, woven of her tones, in which is held and gathered your sacred creations. So this a part of the way of the morning star. So with that, we come to the sixth guidepost, which is of the white flame, the white celestial flame. And it is quite the opposite, if you like, that we are bringing through that which is so beyond this earth, so beyond what has been present here through this last aeon. It truly is a new cycle of creation, and that your role as a divine messenger is of the starlight, is of the future that is inflowing, and to be radical, be far out. Allow that what you're bringing through, what you're saying, what you're feeling is not already here, and to go far out, to be true to that. As my teacher said years ago, Nancy Dancing Light, go all the way out to the starlight, go all the way out to the stars. And yes, we bring that all the way back with us here, but in order to access this ground, to walk this ground of the new earth, in order to really be here as those golden galactic butterfly messengers of worlds, we need to give ourselves that deep permission to go as far out as we long to go, to be as radical as we are. So this, the sixth and the white celestial flame of the way of the morning star, you are the future. You are the future walking here. So the seventh and the final of the flames of the way of the morning star is that of the rose and the rose light. And this is, I always think, best described by a quote from Rumi that guided me for years. The beauty that you love, let that be what you do. And over again, the love that you have always held within you, the beauty that has always drawn you, that which has always been natural and native to you, woven through everything. This is the greatest guidepost and guiding star to the divine messenger that you are, to all that your truest soul star essence brings through, speaks, is for the dawn. And to really trust that, to allow that to be your guiding star over and over again. The beauty that you love, let that be what you do. And I believe that through the last aeon, there's been a huge override on that, whether through our spiritual systems, our religions, our cultural, familial, societal conditionings. In any of these spheres, this override of that trusting to the beauty that you love, coming back to that guiding star over and over again, for it is the lamp, the lantern that guides you to bring through exactly the love that you are, that shines within the heart of creation for all worlds, all timelines, all realms. So I feel that like part of the journey of being is that we experiment with moving away from that, with moving away, wondering, do I trust that love always and ever? Do I come back to that always and ever? And through that exploration, it seems to confirm ever more deeply that yes, we return, we come back to this. This is what guides all. This is to be trusted. And so these, the seven flames or lamps of the way of the morning star, the way of our Arwen, of our inspiration. And it may be that a different one lights and guides us at different moments in this great symphony of that way of seventh dimensional and creation. It may be a particular one that stands forth in you, that guides you at any moment, whether it's the igniting of your divine imagination and the golden light, becoming willing to dream in that quantum field of infinite potential, what you would love to dream into being, or whether it is to open that silver channel of your being to your far language of light, let it flow through, wash through, recode your neural pathways, the energy reform through the levels of purest essence and that song from beyond your consciousness here. And whether it is to come into deepest care of your body, to really, really take care and to follow through on your guidance and give yourself that sacred care and nurturance that you need, because that allows your avatar presence, that allows the divine messenger that you are of worlds beyond to really, really land here, really arrive and to therefore become ever more deeply expressive, ever more deeply whole and present. So many the ways, and I hope that through this pod those 7 ways and lamps shine with you lit, even if you don't consciously think of them moment to moment, that the activation is there present of this elven and elder and star way of creation, this way of Arwen, this way of becoming and being that divine messenger of worlds that you are. For more and more truly it is anchoring as our natural state. It's so beautiful to explore, deepen, complete into this. For in this moment, as it feels to me, that within our hearts right here, we're more and more able to feel what it is to be the expression of that angelic concordance of worlds, of the great central sun, of all worlds, of that angel, of that great central sun that you are, that I am, feeling the breath, the synchronization with that divine plan, that unfoldment of light, and that we're really able to feel the message, the presencing that we're called to be as the expression of the heart of all that is in this living moment, right here within our hearts and our bodies, really feeling that trust, feeling that ground, being that moment to moment. So that feels so deeply in potentiality within the anchoring of our ascension of this now moment. So much love, and may this inspire and be of benefit for you for all the realms. Eyar eni atayan ethere totian. May this anchor that golden galactic butterfly, that divine messenger of worlds within, bringing through the message of your people, of your home world, of all that you are for the dawn. Yana, so much to come, so much to flow through that one who you are. Keretian orate. So much love, and I shall see you soon. Farewell for now.